Is your money safe in the banks? Actually, I'm asking you, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Is your money safe in the banks? How about on the crypto exchanges? Is it time to divest, or is it time to invest, or both? Remember, diversity, security, and cash flow, as well as free links in the description down below. Free money. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But more importantly, the urgent warning about the secret economic death trap that could hit your bank account next. But we got some important today because Coinbase and Binance lawsuits are putting crypto on ice. Feel free to chime in at any time. The SEC has launched 2 lawsuits in 24 hours, putting a huge question mark over the future of the retail crypto trading in the U.S. And for the second time in 24 hours, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has sued a major cryptocurrency exchange. Yesterday, the regulators filed charges against Binance and its CEO, Changpeng Zhao, with accusations of manipulative trading practices, mishandling customer assets, and failures of corporate control. Does that trigger anything for you? Because I remember you telling a story about having your own experience with the SEC, or was it the FBI?
Both, unfortunately, and the police and FINRA and every other regulatory agency that exists. Now, the good news is we hadn't done anything wrong, so we survived the audit and lived to fight another day. But this, when the consumer or the investor or the general public does not trust that their money, which has been invested or deposited or parked somewhere, is not safe, then the system is at risk. And when they are in fear and panic, which we haven't seen, right? We haven't seen the panic hit the market since the great financial crisis. So we haven't experienced anything like that in a long time. But when there is panic in the market and people are terrified and afraid, they will naturally try to get their money if they don't trust the system. And so these lawsuits remind me of, lots of different, I believe the charge was manipulated trades. Was that?
Manipulative trading practices, mishandling customer assets, and failures of corporate control. But it almost sounds like they're describing our government and central bank and the Treasury and the Social Security Administration.
Well, listen, if I don't know who gets to regulate the regulators, mount up. Who regulates the regulators? Who gets the police? And there, unfortunately, is nobody, right? But the manipulative trading practices that they're being charged with, when you have an unregulated market and you have the wild, wild west, as there is in that space, you can do lots of different things because there is no regulation. And it's only a matter of time until those folks get smacked down. So I actually look at these lawsuits and these moves as being a good thing in terms of making it transparent and fair in terms of trading practices amongst whatever the digital currency might be, or Bitcoin, whatever it might be that they're doing. But this is the biggest con in the books. This is the same thing that institutional money was doing before the retail investor could do, because they had access to high-speed trading. So they were able to execute trades because they had access to better technology and front-run trades. And even though it was only a half a penny here or fractions on the dollar there, when you're lightning speed trading massive volumes of securities and or money, doesn't matter what, you get a competitive advantage. And it racks up into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So the fact that they are doing, or that was Binance and what was the other one?
Coinbase.
And Coinbase were doing that. I mean, one, they should know better, because it's played itself out over and over and over and over again in the regulated markets, which is why those regulations exist in the first place. They should have known better. But if there's no regulators and there's no regulation and they're allowed to get away with these things, eventually you get smacked.
They should have known better, but maybe at the same time, those investing in it should have as well. And this is one of the things that I talk about when investing for beginners just starting out is you got to know what you're getting involved with, and you're only really getting involved with it after you feel comfortable with it because you have this knowledge and expertise where you're going to ultimately put your money, which is potentially at risk.
Which is terrifying, because if they don't know what they don't know, out there swimming with the sharks, and they don't know that they're swimming with the sharks, and they think they're in the cool thing, they're in the good pool, the safe pool. There's lifeguards that are watching me, but they don't know that there's a great white or 10 swimming right around them, and the next thing you know, they're drowning and getting attacked by sharks.
Yeah, I think there's actually a spotting of a great white off the coast of South Carolina or North Carolina today. And even here, we're cruising down the harbor and we see fins. They could be dolphins. Odds that they're sharks, but crazier things have happened. Michelle said a hammerhead washed up on shore not too long ago. Panama City Beach.
A full-fledged shark on the shore.
Oh, they had a shark on the shore. And we thought we saw a dolphin, manatee, but it was actually a giant turtle. So anything's possible, but if you don't know what you're in or what you're potentially swimming with, then that just makes it all the more dangerous. Now, the beauty of cryptocurrency was the fact that it was decentralized. Now, with this lawsuit or these lawsuits, the first of many, it's going to, in my opinion, remove the glamour of cryptocurrency and the benefit and perk and upside of the decentralization, which Binance and Coinbase and other exchanges, FTX and however many else are out there, these exchanges were leveraging as an attractive appeal to the investor, knowing good and well what they were doing. Where you say they should have known better, they knew better. They knew from the start.
But to be clear, the decept of what we're talking about here has got nothing to do with what they're talking about in that lawsuit. So if that's how it's interpreted, that's not what's happening. What they're regulating and what they're smacking down on is the front running and the manipulation of trades, so that the traders, they are the house, right? They are if you're at the casino, they are the pit boss, right? They're manipulating the system, which has nothing to do with decentralization of the asset. They're manipulating the system so they can benefit and you lose.
Now,
that should be regulated.
Is this a strategic play? Because obviously they know where they're limited. Well, we'll hit them where it hurts the most here because we haven't been successful at trying to stop them at being decentralized, which ultimately this can cripple them. This can bring them down or slow them down, to a point of which before we get to this central bank digital currency.
Or is this a ploy to weaken the confidence in those other options, right? So that these are some of the biggest digital asset wirehouses or trading bases that exist, right? So they're going after them. Well, it could be for many different reasons. It could be for the right reasons, which I think. It could be for the wrong reasons, which many other people think. Or it could be for them to get us to buy into whatever the next thing is that they're trying to promote. And my biggest fear, which you've heard me talk about before, is them getting us all on the same general ledger, them getting us all at the same bank, them using whatever the next crisis is to give us some sort of inducement. We'll give you 10 grand. We'll do something to your benefit. We'll dangle a little carrot financially so that you go over to Bank of America or the biggest crook in the world, Jamie Dimon, and JP Morgan, or the top five. You go there, but then you find out, well, that's really just the Fed. That's really just the Treasury. That's really just the government. And now they've got access to the one general ledger. And now we've got a social credit score.
Now it says, oh yeah, for sure, works amongst other things, but we can discuss that on future videos, as well as when you're done watching this video, make sure you check out the video in the first link of the description. Warning: secret economic death trap. There is a crisis. There's a financial crisis far bigger than you could really ever imagine, and it lends to what Chris is saying. Now, it says that today the SEC followed up with a suit against the NASDAQ-listed exchange Coinbase, alleging that it has violated securities laws. The double salvo sends a clear message that the SEC is gunning for crypto. This is according to Wired. The upshot of this could be that U.S. investors lose access to popular crypto assets. So if they lose access to that, well, then where are they going to invest? Now, right now, there's a huge push towards money market, which is removing money from the banks and ultimately giving it to the central bank, the Fed. But Coinbase shares price fell nearly 14% after the case was announced. And Dan Dolev, senior fintech equity research analyst at Mizuho, estimates that about 30% of Coinbase's revenue could be at risk as the crypto industry comes under tighter scrutiny. That's not good. Some of that loss could fall off with altcoin trading if those now have to be registered as securities, and the exchange could lose another chunk from a loss in staking revenue. More risk-averse investors, those who are not super interested in losing a lot of money, might start to steer clear of the exchange due to its potential inherent risk. While banks may be reluctant to work with an organization that is attracting regulatory attention, such as Coinbase and Binance. And after a chaotic year in the crypto industry, this is just another blow for Coinbase, and this downward spiral is only getting worse. I need to go check my Coinbase account and see if I still have access to it. Now, Wired says that the complaints against Coinbase and Binance are likely to take years to pass through the courts, much like we are seeing or have seen with XRP, Ripple Labs, and the SEC. And they are dealing with many of the same issues. But it's just my opinion that I think that they're going after these non-regulated cryptocurrency, decentralized exchange tokens, where they can hit them the hardest and try to potentially slow them down or eliminate them or remove all investor confidence as best they can. 99% of investor confidence. But short of legislation or legislative intervention from Congress, questions around the classification of crypto assets and jurisdiction of the SEC will remain unresolved as well. And all the while, the U.S. crypto industry will hang in limbo. Some in the industry think that that's part of the motivation, and it's an effort to chill the market. And this is according to Justin Browder, partner at law firm Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. The complaints will serve to put crypto on ice in the U.S., while we are also experiencing other countries, the BRICS nations, working towards, their next move, ultimately potentially in game or checkmate. We'll see how that works out in this de-dollarization effort globally. But for now, exchanges will continue to operate and customers are still able to trade, but a question mark will hang over the legality of the crypto assets named in the complaints for the duration of the legal proceedings. So hopefully you guys have been listening and paying attention and haven't kept your crypto tokens and keys on the exchange, and you have pulled them off and you have them secured with cold storage. Again, diversity, security, and cash flow. Now, equally, the new crypto businesses are less likely to want to set up shop in a country that has demonstrated itself sympathetic to the sector. So basically, the U.S. government is ultimately going to limit you down to one option. Can you guess what that option is? Now, Browder says, are you jumping in? You chiming in? Now, Browder says that the charges brought by the SEC this week indicate that the agency is perfectly comfortable with a future in which U.S. residents have limited access to crypto assets. The undercurrent is that the SEC views crypto assets in the way that they are currently offered as inappropriate for retail investors. Inappropriate for retail investors. And if the SEC thinks this asset class needs to be curtailed, these two actions are the most effective way to send the signal. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is all according to Wired. This is all according to these attorneys and these. Browder is the partner at the law firm, but they're saying this is the most effective way to send the signal. I think if you know your limitations and you know what you have to work with to try to potentially stop something, or not, then you have to find new ways to get creative and try to prevent that from happening.
You said send a strong message, right? So
yeah,
this is them sending a strong message. Who are they sending the strong message to?
It almost seems like they're sending it to retail investors. It almost seems like it.
Or is it deeper than that? Is it bigger than that? I mean, the fact that this is getting some attention right now, obviously anybody who's exposed to the markets because they're invested in them is at risk, but they know that they're at risk because there's risk inherent in any investment. But what's the bigger audience that they can send a message to that nothing can be trusted except Big Papa Powell and the Fed? Well, this is one way. And this is the start of many other actions that they will take to try to make us not trust anybody but them and drink the Kool-Aid when they give it to us.
Government Kool-Aid.
Government Kool-Aid, because there's a lot of people out there that it's summertime. We were just at the beach. We were on the boat. We saw a turtle, great white shark, hammerhead, this, that, and the other thing. It was hot as hell out. We're in Destin, Florida, for crying out loud. And while it was gorgeous and a great day, and I'm just playing around here, it was super hot. And everyone out there is thirsty. When the general public is thirsty and there's nothing to drink because it's too hot out there, because inflation has scorched the skin off of everyone and the recession has scorched, we're all sunburned. We're going to take the Kool-Aid. And if we've been so desensitized and so conditioned to only trust what they say and what they've given us, well, we're China.
Now, it's funny you say that because we were actually Justin the other day, G.I. Justin, and he said that he was watching this documentary on Netflix, I believe, or maybe it was YouTube. I'm not 100% sure, but it was about Woodstock. Whatever Woodstock that Kid Rock opened for or something. And apparently the strategic move was to charge $1 for beer and $8 for water. And you want to talk about thirsty? You want to talk about thirsty? Thanks, Chris, for joining me. Appreciate you guys for watching. Check the links in the description down below. Give the video a like, subscribe. You guys take care, be safe. See you real soon.